I would say we can start, of course, we can wait.
Okay, so thank you very much. So my dear ladies and gentlemen, and if we have any members from the academia, honorable members of academia, dear students, participants of this Hikma summit, it is really a great honor to be with you tonight, although virtually, and share my views on a very complex but relevant topic, nationalism versus democracy, or rather the impact nationalism has on democracy. It is especially relevant when talking about this concept as applied in the context of Balkan region, where the last wars in Europe has taken place or happened. The Western Balkans have unfortunately a reputation of being synonymous of nationalism since many decades now, looming over us like a heavy cloud. Especially following the breakdown of the former Yugoslavia, which resurfaced as the increased appetite of Serbia for power and territory. Ethnic nationalism revived again stronger than ever. Nationalism in the form of the nationalistic rhetoric, narratives, and propaganda were used by the Serbian regime led by Slobodan Milosevic to deepen hatred and the ethnic divisions in the former Yugoslavia countries, culminating ultimately into the violent conflict and wars in Croatia, in Bosnia and Herzegovina, and in Kosovo. Milosevic's speech at the Gazimestan monument on the Kosovo field, where he referenced it to the possibility of armed battles, fueled inter-ethnic tensions and interpreted by many as the foreshadowing the bloodshed that followed. It remains a glaring example of the grave consequences that the nationalistic rhetoric can really have. And over the last years, we've been witnessing resurgence of ethnic nationalism and a right-wing populism across Europe, countries in the countries in the Western Balkans have not been in a case spared of this wave either. The actions taken by the political actors and the political spectrum in the Balkans generally resemble the degree of the nationalism that was deeply entrenched in politics in the late 80s and the 90s. So we are definitely risking to dive deeper into this trend and reverse the whole progress that has been achieved over the years in democratizing countries across the entire region. Nationalism flourishes in the time of accumulated frustration and the lack of the development prospect. It targets isolated communities with a lack of the access to opportunities and outside resources. As such, nationalism is a major threat to democracy and can become detrimental to creating sustainable peace and reconciliation in the region. It is very unfortunate to see that nationalism has become very dominant in the political discourse and narratives of most countries in the Balkans. And as such, it often deviates the public debate from problems that actually need urgent and practical solutions, such as the lack of the economic development, unemployment, corruption, inadequate health and education system, and many others. Nationalism remains a potential destabilizing factor across the Balkans, but not limited surely to our region. And what makes things worse are the different actors involved in this animation of nationalism, which undermines democracy and its core and pushes back the efforts to build democratic and more accountable institutions. Russia and China have an expansive view on global politics and the global economy and challenge other global powers, such as the United States and the European Union in the Balkans, whose geostrategical location between the Black and the Mediterranean Sea is important to both Moscow and Beijing. And Russia's nationalistic resurgence in the Balkan influenced its strongest ally there, Serbia, producing a non-linear warfare in renewing tensions in the region. It is the case of much insecurity among its neighboring countries. And Russia's new activism in the Balkan focuses on hybrid intervention, which consists of a mix of non-military and military elements, applying both the soft power and the hard power at the same time. Then Russians' hybrid interventions are implemented, among others, through the media and the social network, which serves as a perfect tool to spread fake news, misinformation, propaganda, and other types of the foreign intervention. And disinformation campaigns are particularly mentioned in time of uncertainty, such as in the time that we are at the moment, with the potential of to sow division among specific groups and communities, and force a sense of belonging on ethnic and political lines, damaging unity and cooperation among all of the communities. And the social media as an excellent platform for the dissemination of the fake news do not only change the way that we do usually think and we think, but also the way we behave in society. Just on Twitter, for example, fake news spreads 6 times faster than the real news. And having said this, it is something that we should pay more attention to, especially so much time is now spent online, and we have few tools available to effectively really address these issues and these challenges. We have to thwart the mailing influence of foreign meddling in countries in which seek to undermine our democracies and can cause disastrous effects on the political, on the economic, and the social landscape of our countries and our communities. So, my dear students and ladies and gentlemen, despite the multiple different challenges in establishing and fostering our democracy, we, as a country, we have not stood still. Since the end of the war, and especially after the declaration of independence in 2008, Kosovo has unequivocally aligned itself towards the Western powers by living up to the values of democracy, equality, freedom, and justice. We have set the legal foundation of diverse country in which the rights of the different ethnic, religious, and social groups are fully respected. And we have made all possible efforts to treat the diversity of our society as an added value to our young democracy and not as a threat to it. And through a holistic and inclusive approach, we have taken several actions to deem nationalism fueled by our neighboring country, Serbia and Russia, in our Serb-dominated communities. First and foremost, we have confronted Serbia's interference into our internal politics by dissolving its parallel structures and parallel institutions in predominantly Serb areas. We have cut the funding lines of these areas as well. And at the same time, we have offered numerous opportunities for integration to the Serb minority through the positive discrimination into the employment, in business, and other areas. And through inclusive policies, Kosovo has enabled all communities to be heard, to have a voice and a say in the decision-making processes at all levels, at the local and at the central level of our governance as well. We have embraced political pluralism at the Kosovo Assembly. Through the constitution and other legislation, we have guaranteed the representation of the ethnic Serbs and other minorities at the assembly. We have also increased funding and either financial and development support to the Serb-dominated municipalities, while we have strengthened health and education system in all of these areas. And Serb municipalities and communities living in the central and the southern part of our country's Kosovo are fully integrated into the society and into social life, but at the same time into our institutional life. However, a key challenge remains the northern part of our country, whose citizens, our citizens, being pressured and politically manipulated, unfortunately, by Serbia, hesitate to embrace Kosovo's independence, and with that, their right to live as the full legal citizens of this country, of our country. We have fostered an inter-ethnic relations by promoting the dialogue and the consensus at the same time, while on national level, we have been an active part of the process of normalization of the relations with our northern neighbor of Serbia. And just over the last several months, the United States brokered several milestone agreements between Kosovo and Serbia focus on the economic development and cooperation of both of our countries. And a landmark agreement was signed in Washington only a few days ago, or 3 weeks now ago, I think, providing both countries with opportunities to enhance economic development by attracting more foreign investment and creating more of the job opportunities. From the other side, the EU mediated dialogue is also still ongoing and provides us with hope for a better future as neighboring countries. However, the European Union needs to move faster and ensure that all agreements achieved in the framework of the dialogue between the Kosovo and Serbia are fully and should be fully implemented in the ground by both of the parties, and that Kosovo and Serbia are held to the same standards. Absolutely, more actions needs to be needs to happen with the regards of the Kosovo relations with the European Union as well. Kosovo remains fortunately the only country in the region which does not enjoy freedom of movement within the European Union. And for the young people out there, probably they will know what I mean in that regard. The disunity among the European Union member states to include Kosovo into the Schengen zone has left the citizens of my country, of our country, isolated, risking to add on to existing grievances which can be instrumentalized for the nationalistic purposes. So, my dear students, setting up partnership with international allies has helped democracy in the entire region flourish, but it is not. But this is not enough. Western Balkan countries need a perspective. They need a European perspective, and that is a tangible and not a tangible one and not an elusive one. It is tremendously important for the EU to speed up the membership process and enable countries in the region to have a sense of belonging in the European family of all of our countries. And we need viable and civic-oriented and pro-European alternatives to confront nationalism at its roots. We need to create opportunities to dissolve nationalistic agendas and turn them into the integration programs and integration agendas. The accession of Montenegro to the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, for instance, has been a landmark achievement, not only for the Montenegro and Podgorica itself, but for the security and stability of the entire region. And absolutely, we need to see other neighboring countries following this example swiftly. But to do this, the European Union must put its focus back into the region. The Western Balkans is just at the doorstep of the Europe. Ignoring the threats and tensions our countries are dealing with would pave the way for the Russia to gain more influence and as a result undermine the European future of the entire region. If the European integration process of the Western Balkan countries, my dear friends, is left in limbo, the region risks to become prey of other foreign powers that seeks to destabilize Europe by creating the ethnic tensions, unrest, and conflict in our region. The COVID-19 pandemic that has surely added a new problem on the list of the problems of the entire globe, but also the European Union. But it is especially in these times of crisis when Balkan countries need European leadership, they need fellowship, and we need that support. Western Balkan countries are absolutely committed to the European Union integration process. Our future is the European one, and that should be our main alternative because there is no other alternative. In partnership with the European Union, we need to build on the achievements made so far and accelerate through dialogue, consensus, and unity our integration process into back to the bloc. European integration fatigue could, in the long term, which is dominant now, in the long term, harm the interests of the Western powers and will ultimately fragile and unstable democracies in our region at the same time. Authoritarian regimes and tendencies to diminish progress in the region can be fought properly only through strong partnership with our transatlantic EU allies and with the joint commitment to make our democracies work for every one of us, every single one of us. So without trying to go more into the details, because I think we are also running out of time, Francesca, I'm sending back to you now.
Yeah, first of all, we really want to thank you for this amazing speech, and I think we should all keep those words in mind. So before going ahead, again, we want to thank you also on behalf of all the team of Hikma. And I think we can go now with a few questions that we have received. I mean, we have received a lot, but we decided to choose just a few of them. So first of all, we have somebody, I think we have Mariano asking, do you think powerful leaders of nationalism like Trump or Putin can affect the public opinion and policies all over the world and in the Balkan region too? And if yes, how can they do it?
Usually my general principle is not to comment any of the current leaders or my colleagues or my former colleagues. But I would like only to comment with one line of that. No matter if it's the first reference or the second reference, I think that has absolutely dominated, and it is dominating and it is influenced because at the end of the day, when you are the head of state and when you are the head of the government or high politician of one country or the other country, in a way, we cannot have and we do not have our personal opinion. And everything what we say and everything what we put in the surface, that is counted and is looked like the country stand, and it is the governmental stand of one country or the other. And that may lead or mislead in many other things.
Thank you so much. So another nice question that we received is this one. So somebody is asking, how can political leaders make liberalism and democracy more attractive to the public opinion than nationalism and conflict?
I think I already said in my address that the only key to every country, being a very young country like it is mine, or the country where you are physically, which is over 140 years of the unification, or many other countries around the world. Exclusion is not the answer to the nationalism. Inclusion is the answer to that and is the best way to fight that, and continuously building into the more opportunities and the better welfare of our citizen. I took the example of our country, an entire region of the southeastern part of the Europe, or like some other country referred to us as the Western Balkans. The only way forward for us not to go back to the history of the 19th century, which belonged to hegemonism and other ideas, it's the integration. So the integration and the welfare of opposite and equal opportunities are key to addressing this.
Thank you so much for answering also this question. We had another one, which was mainly about European Union, but I think you have answered.
This is the last one because we had like 3 questions. Good.
Yeah, this is the last one, and I was saying it was about the European Union and the role that European Union has now on this very tricky and complicated issue. But I think you have answered partially before. The question was, what is the soft power of the European Union with the countries that are already inside the Union and the ones that are not inside already? What can the European Union do?
Yeah, Francesca, thank you very much. And as I said in my early remarks, the European Union has to be, actually the current member state of the European Union have to be more united and more in one voice when is a question of the enlargement. And so far, we have not seen that very much, particularly on the reference of the southeastern part of the Europe or the Western Balkans, because physically we are in the doorstep of the European Union. Neither Kosovo, neither Albania, neither Serbia, Macedonia, Northern Macedonia actually, Montenegro or Bosnia and Herzegovina has any other alternative than the EU and EU integration. And none of the countries, it has been or it is hesitant to go by the checkbox or by the list of fulfilling all of the criteria and the requirement. And we do know that this is absolutely not because of the EU. These checkbox and criteria are because of the welfare of our citizens, because we want to meet the EU requirement and EU standards in order for tomorrow to be the equal citizens of the European Union. But this fatigue which is dominating among the European Union and lack of the unity within the EU family itself, it is in the way not helping the enlargement policies itself of the European Union, but at the same time for us as the aspiring country. And it is opening so much of the space for the other powers to take it up and build that, which would absolutely not be in our country's individually interest and absolutely not for the future of the EU.
Thank you so much for your answer, for your time, and for being here with us today. We are really happy and honored to have you. And yeah, I would say it has been the perfect start for our event to have President Jahjaga here with us. So we are really happy, and we hope to see you again, maybe in person, which will be much better. And that's all. Thank you from all our association, and I would say this is the end of the conference for today. And thank you, everyone.
Francesca, thank you very much. And thank you to all of the attendees who attended this summit. I hope I met at least a small percentage of your expectation on the topic that you have chosen. I look very much forward to visit your campus, and hopefully the conditions will be created in the near future to that. Until that time, please do stay safe for yourself and for your family members as well. It was my pleasure to be a part of your summit. And well done.
Thank you so much again. Thank you.